All right, so in this video we're going to talk about grain line. I'm imagining that in your first pattern making lesson you've been introduced to this concept of the straight grain. So every pattern that we make, every pattern piece on our draft, intermediate, final pattern needs to have a straight grain. So the straight grain runs parallel to the selvage of the fabric, so therefore it's running in line with the warp threads. Okay, so I'm just going to mark this on the fabric. So first of all, I'm just putting the edge of my ruler to the edge of the selvage. Oh, just trying to make that nice and clear. Okay, now the other direction to talk about is what's called the cross grain. Okay, so the cross grain runs with the weft threads, okay, in this direction. And like its name sort of suggests, it runs across the fabric. So I'm just squaring off the straight grain to form the cross grain. Okay, so like its name suggests, it runs across the fabric. Okay, so predominantly we cut our pattern pieces with the centre front and centre back sort of running, or roughly through the centre of the piece, running with the straight grain. The other important part to note is what's called the bias. Okay, so what you do is you measure along the cross grain, okay, and the straight grain equal distances. Okay, and then draw a line between those 2 points. So this gives you a 45-degree angle and this is the bias. Okay, so in the straight grain direction, now this fabric does have a little bit of give. Okay, it's probably good to do this on your calico. And in the cross grain, okay, it does not have a lot of give, whereas in the bias direction, okay, it can become very stretchy, particularly in this fabric because it's a wool suiting, and wool as a fibre is quite a bouncy, flexible fibre.